It is March 28th, 2023. We are at Tallassee, Alabama at the E.V. Smith research site. And this particular ryegrass planting that we're seeing was a late planting. It was planted in November, I believe November 9th. And it has not been cut yet. It was a cold winter. But mostly it hasn't been cut just because it was planted late. And so a couple things just to point out on this trial is that if late planting is somebody's only option, it is worth it to look at what variety one might want to plant. With these new varieties available, there's everything from early establishment to later maturing. And in this particular case, when you get a late planting, your window's shorter, so you really want something that's going to grow fairly quick. So we're going to look at two varieties that fit that category. This is the first one of those varieties. It's a variety called Frostproof, out of the University of Florida. It was also bred for cold tolerance. So it's done very well this year where it has had to deal with cold tolerance. And you can see that this variety is quite a bit higher than the plot adjacent to it on the left, and there's it looks like there's maybe a bit more even to the plot next to it. And then just adjacent, as you kind of just look around, it's standing strong and tall. Frostproof also is very upright, and we see that characteristic. Behind it is a newer variety to us called Rapido. Rapido is also an early variety. And again, if you look at the neighboring plots, it's significantly higher. You can also see that it is getting to the point where it's wanting to actually start to throw seed heads. And in contrast, if we go down a couple more plots, we actually look at one variety that is specifically bred for later maturity. This variety is called Dexter. It's nowhere near maturity. It is slower growing, and it's not expressing itself right now in a lot of growth. As we get farther along in the season, well after the other varieties have gone to seed head, this one will still have plenty of gas in the tank. A couple over is a variety called Green Dragon. Green Dragon is also another one of our newer releases, and it is a leafy variety. It has shown some early growth. So maybe we would maybe refer to it as early to mid growth, but it's quite leafy. Behind it, or I should say in front of it, is a variety called Mantis. And Mantis is one that's showing great promise for being a mid to late maturing variety. It's got plenty of growth. Doesn't look like it's ready to go to seed head at all. And two over is another variety that is a later maturing variety. This one's called Grazekeeper, and as you can see, it's not at the point where it wants to start throwing seed heads at all. As we go back behind this plot, the one behind it, you notice that this variety has this kind of lazy layover leafy type material. This is a variety called Baquiano. Baquiano shows itself real typical in this, that it just has this almost soft, wavy, very leafy characteristic, which can be quite attractive for grazing and for silage. And it looks like the forage quality on Baquiano should be very good. And then another variety that is fast becoming popular in Alabama is a variety called Trinova. And this is another one of these varieties that is just showing really good promise to have very good uniform performance throughout the season. As you notice, it has lots of forage there. So here's just a look at what you might see as far as significant differences in a late planting situation where there's colder temperatures.